episode 75 of the podcast. Today I talk about a couple of questions that I got. One is, if you're not a certified dog trainer, how do you learn how to direct and train the dogs? And two, I don't know any dog trainers in my area that would be able to help with this. How do I find a dog trainer? You're listening to the Creating Great Grooming Dogs podcast. I'm Chrissy Newmeyer-Smith. I'm a certified professional groomer, a certified behavior consultant for canines, a certified professional dog trainer, and the owner of Happy Critters in Nashua, New Hampshire. And this, my friends and colleagues, is the podcast where grooming and training meet. I got an email this week that led me to a really good topic for our podcast this week. One of the things that she mentioned, thank you, Liz, for the email, is one of the things she mentions is I'm not a certified dog trainer and I wouldn't know how to direct or train these dogs. Ooh, that is such a good topic for us to dig into. I want you to be thinking about the fact that dogs are always learning, and so are we. So pretty much every interaction we have with them is some sort of learning, because every moment of every day, we're taking in information about what we care about and what affects us. It may just be putting your world into two categories. That could be pleasant and unpleasant. That could be, I'd do that again, or I'll never do that again. If we simplify it down into like two broad categories, but we try to avoid the things that we think are unpleasant. We try to continue the things that we think are pleasant. And even if it's something that a dog isn't used to doing, they can start thinking about, well, I'll do that again, or I'm never going to do that again. And a lot of the things that we do in grooming and in veterinary visits and in home care, a lot of these physical caring of dogs that we have to do, we can put it into the pleasant category. We can put it into the I don't mind doing that again category. Now, we don't need to have a training session to be training. And I think that comes up pretty often. I think that a lot of groomers think about dog training as, oh, okay, and now we're going to get a bunch of training equipment. Maybe that's like, a treat bag and a clicker, and this is how we're going to do training. But I'm here to tell you, you've been training. Because every time you have a dog with you, you're teaching them and they're learning about you. And I talk about calm, comfortable, and cooperative an awful lot because it's a shortcut. It's a way for us to keep the dog in the, this is pleasant, I don't mind doing that again, kind of headspace. Now I know, tech talk, headspace. But it gives us, any of us, groomers, trainers, owners, etc., an easy way to evaluate how the dog is doing. It's a training and behavior goal that we can keep in mind without really having to know a huge amount of training. Now, I like teaching you guys about training, and I love the topic of training, and I love hearing more and more groomers using some really tech talk about training. And trainers, I love hearing you guys talk more about grooming and about the importance of grooming and preparing dogs for the realities of a grooming room. So, stay with the podcast. But the shortcut is talking about calm, comfortable, and cooperative, because I think most owners and most dog people can recognize when a dog is in that zone. More tech talk, like in the zone. But if we're training our eyes to watch for when a dog is calm, when they're comfortable with us, when they're cooperating with us, and when it changes, then we can better prepare ourselves. What does calm, comfortable, and cooperative look like? What does it look like in your mind? Now, I want you to really think about that for a moment, because I want you to imagine the dog who is totally relaxed and willing to let people do weird things with weird stuff. Because that's what we're trying to encourage with every dog. Please let the weird humans do weird things with weird stuff. And that's what we're trying to build, is a feeling of, that was pleasant, or I don't mind doing that again. And I'm going to say I don't mind doing that again because sometimes there are things that we're doing that are not pleasant. And that's important to remember. Not everything we do is pleasant. We still have to be able to lift that leg that's sore. We still have to check that ear that might be sore. And I've talked about that before in the podcast, that we aren't necessarily always working with dogs that are healthy. But much like me going to the dentist, my dentist makes it as pleasant as possible. And I trust them. And I can't imagine going anywhere else because I've had some bad experiences at dentists. But I'm never going to crave it. I'm never going to say, oh, that was wonderful. It's so pleasant to go to the dentist. But I will say, I wouldn't mind doing that again. And as an adult, I have to book my own sessions, right? So what we can hope for most of our dogs is to put grooming and care, veterinary care and home care, whether that be owners giving medications, putting in eye ointment, checking bums, whatever it is, into the I don't mind doing that again category. And when we're looking at calm, comfortable, and cooperative, that's the dog that doesn't mind us being weird people, doing weird things with weird stuff. Because eye ointment, how do you explain that to a dog? I'm going to put this goo in your eye. It's weird things with weird stuff. Nobody ever told them that they're going to have to get their eye gooed. Tech talk. More tech talk today. So, as an example, an owner at home who sees their dog chewing on a paw and they want to go over and take a look. They don't need to make that a training session. They're not even thinking about a training session. They're like, oh, hey, buddy, what are you doing? So what we're trying to do is get everybody thinking in terms of observing your dog's body language. Is the dog relax? Did the dog stiffen? Did the dog get up to try to walk away? Did the dog move toward them? Was the dog gentle, threatening, switching into jumpy and playful? What was happening in that moment? Because you know what? Whether you mean to or not, you've created a moment of learning. You might not think it's a training moment, but it's a moment of learning. Now, if the dog is relaxed, calm, gentle, which is another way of wording the 3 C's, calm, comfortable, and cooperative, right? We can continue moving toward our goal of looking at that paw, examining that paw, seeing why the dog is chewing at their paw. If the dog was scared, jumpy, stiff, what do we naturally want to do? Think about what most owners are going to try to do. We're going to try to help the dog relax before moving forward with anything else. Part of the problem is that many people don't really know intuitively how to help a dog relax. So if we're thinking about calm, comfortable, and cooperative, how do we help this be pleasant? We try to make it pleasant. How do we put this in the category of I don't mind doing that again? Is trying to make it pleasant, right? We need to help the dog calm down by being calm ourselves. And then we proceed when they're calm. And guess what? Ta-da! That's training. Yep, you just did training. Even though you didn't have a treat pouch out or a leash or any sort of a collar, you don't have any equipment, you don't have a plan in front of you that says exactly what you're going to do. I want you guys to start thinking about it in a more intuitive way, a little bit more adding it to your file in your mind about what is common sense for you. Because we don't start off with good common sense when it comes to our dogs. We don't naturally understand our dogs. I wish we did, but I'll tell you what, we don't. I didn't. I'm sure there are people out there who do, but most of us need to learn this the hard way or need to be guided by someone. I've been guided by many others. Thank goodness. They've made me who I am today. They continue to guide me, and the dogs continue to teach me. So I want you to be thinking that when we're in these situations, we're training. So groomers, if you are worried about, you're not a certified dog trainer, you wouldn't know how to direct or train these dogs, you wouldn't know where to start, I think you're underestimating yourselves because you do know where to start. And where you start is having a safety policy, explaining to customers, you know what, we're just going to keep this as safe as possible. We're going to help your dog be calm. We're going to help your dog relax through this. At the signs that your dog is having trouble, we're going to back off and work on the behavior and help your dog understand that this is safe. And we're going to work toward a long-term goal of your dog being great for it. That doesn't mean that you're now the dog trainer. Certainly you can send the dog to a trainer or to a vet or to any other specialist that you think that dog needs and that owner needs. But don't downplay how much you're doing. Because those moments what we're spending with the dog is learning something. If you're enjoying this podcast, please remember to subscribe so that you don't miss any episodes, and tell all of your friends. The other statement that I heard this week, same email. Thank you so much, Liz. I should mention people's names when they send me emails and ask questions. I'm sorry I don't do that often enough. But the other thing that was mentioned was, I don't know any dog trainers in the area that would be able to help with this. And I hear that a lot. In fact, there are a couple people who've told me that in their area, trainers actually kind of buck against it. Like, oh, I have no idea how to do that. Or I'm not going to buy a grooming table. Like, what? So here are some ideas for you guys. One is to take a look at the Certification Council for Professional Dog Trainers and find out if there's someone in your area. The Certified Behavior Consultant for Canines is the certification I would have you look for first. And much like dog groomers, certifications don't necessarily mean that they're the best in the world. And someone who doesn't have a certification doesn't mean that they don't know how to do it. But it does mean that somebody has been evaluated by their peers. Much like the Certified Master Groomer was evaluated by their peers, took some tests. The Certified Behavior Consultant took some tests on that process on changing behavior. The Certified Professional Dog Trainer took testing on how dogs grow up, how to teach them, right? So it's a general way of looking for a professional who is likely to have a really good, strong background. I would look there and see if there's anyone in your area. The other one I would check is the International Association of Animal Behavior Consultants. Now, what they have are a variety of different, I think it's Certified Dog Behavior Consultant or Certified Animal Behavior Consultant, because they also have parrots and cats, and, this is a different group. I do not have their certification because honestly, there's just a point where, wow, keeping up all of the certifications gets costly. So I don't have every certification out there, but they're a wonderful resource too. So if there's anybody near you for that, that's a good resource, and see if any of them are in your area. Again, trainers don't necessarily understand grooming. And if you have a trainer that you work with or that's nearby and you direct them to this podcast, that can be really helpful too. Because a lot of what I present, I try to present from a trainer's point of view also. It's sort of bridging the gap, because it really is alarming that the dog fields don't talk to each other at all. Like, it really doesn't make any sense to me. It's like plumbers, who specialize in bathrooms, and plumbers who specialize in kitchens, and they just are never going to talk. It just doesn't make any sense. So when I'm talking on the podcast, I'm trying to direct it to everybody and get us all on the same page. Now, if you look in those places and you don't find anyone near you, one of the problems I see too is that groomers will talk about needing a behaviorist. And here's the problem. A behaviorist in the United States is someone with an academic background, PhD, maybe a master's degree, or a veterinary specialist in veterinary behavior. So a veterinarian who went on to additional schooling, like I want you to think veterinary cardiologist, veterinary dermatologist, veterinary behaviorist. The problem is that if a groomer tells an owner, I think you need to talk to a behaviorist, where that leads an owner is Joe Schmo's chucklehead training who calls himself a behaviorist. And I know that comes off as sounding very, very mean, but it is considered unethical in the United States for a dog trainer who does not have the academic background of a veterinary specialty, a PhD, or a master's degree, to refer to themselves as a behaviorist. So when owners go looking for a behaviorist, they are likely to find someone who is not up to date and who is just decided to declare themselves a behaviorist or a dog psychologist, something that does not exist. I know, everybody calm down. It's going to be okay. Does not exist. Right? Now, in marketing materials, they might say that they work on behavior, or they'll teach you about dog psychology. But that's a little bit different. They're just trying to relate to owners, and in their marketing materials help you understand. But when we want to direct somebody to a veterinary specialist in behavior or a PhD in behavior, we really need to be really specific, because a behavior consultant is a trade certification. And what that means is that I have, almost like in the grooming field, I have enough experience to move on to do the study materials and take that exam and maintain that certification, which in the dog training world, maintaining your certifications through continuing education that has already been assessed by that certification group, so it's more rigorous than I think the grooming certifications are, because I really wish that we required continuing ed. It'd be good. We don't. We should. I would love that. Consider the podcast Continuing Ed and so many other podcasts out there. Anyway, back on track. But I want you to think about the fact that we can send people to trainers if we can find one in our area. And if not, I want you guys to consider that you can send them to me. Or you can contact me and we can try to work together about a dog on your table. I am here for you, right? So we can set something up. I've done plenty of live stream one-on-ones with people. And I want you to think about that you don't necessarily have to have a trainer in the room with you. You don't necessarily have to have someone right there touching the dog. And that's really important, because even if we were working together, if I were in the room with you, there's a lot of stuff that you kind of need to learn by doing. And often what I'm doing when I'm working with owners is I'm guiding them. I show them a little bit and then have them do. Show them a little bit and have them do. And there's a way for us to do that through video. So it's not like you're out in the boonies and there's no one who can help you, because even if you can't find somebody close by, or I can't help you find somebody close by, because I'm always willing to help out with that too. Just put the tentacles out there, put the feelers out and find out if anybody responds. Is anybody in that area? But if we're working on it as a groomer on the table and following the process of just trying to help this dog have a pleasant experience, you are training. Boom, boom, ta-da! That's training. And I think that most groomers kind of assume that they would have to stop everything to train. And that's not quite true. Sometimes it's the dance of backing off, doing something else, coming back to it. Backing off while the dog's calm, doing something else, moving back to it. And if you're doing it right, it's about as interesting as watching paint dry. The dog is relaxed the whole time. So I want you to think about the fact that you don't necessarily need to become a trainer, because like I said, the two things that got listed, right? Do I need to become a trainer? How do I follow through with this? And how do I find a trainer? What if there's nobody near me? If there's nobody near you, contact me. We'll figure something out. We'll find a way. So that's it for today. But I've got something kind of special planned for you guys, because we're all quarantined right now. Well, mostly quarantined. Anyway, we're all trying to stay safe from this virus, and we're all getting a little stir crazy, and we're all having a tough time of it. I decided to make a fun class. And I'm going to go over some of the stuff that we've talked about here. I've got some videos to share with you guys. I'm using Google Classroom, so I can put up the class code for you guys, and I'll put it on the Grooming Podcast group, the Creating Great Grooming Dogs podcast group. I'll put it on the Creating Great Grooming Dogs Facebook page, and I will send it out also with the email that I send out today, just for the people who have subscribed. But I want us to be able to have a conversation, have some videos, a little bit of content related to the podcast, hang out together, learn a little bit, answer questions. And I'm using Google Classroom because it's really pretty simple. It's designed for interaction as opposed to come on here and watch my videos. And that just to me ends up being kind of boring. I want us to discuss things. I want us to be able to play around, goof off. And it's also a really easy format. It's meant for children. I think you guys can handle it. Even if you are not tech savvy at all, I think you can handle it. But I'm calling it the Quarantine Fun Class. And I'm going to go ahead and start that up for us this week. So let's see, what's today's date? Today the the 24th. So I'm starting it up today. I'm going to put it up later on today. We'll start off with some stuff, and I want people to respond, add comments. We're going to hang out together and just try to have a little bit of fun this week and learn a little bit more and see some videos of what I'm talking about. Help you guys relate to how this all works for you. So, your weekly action step this week is to join the Quarantine Fun class. It's free. Let's just have some fun, and we'll go over some videos and we'll have some discussions, and hopefully all of us can learn a little bit while we're sitting at home worrying about our businesses. So everybody, have a great week and stay curious. If you'd like more information, you can find me at Chrissy at happycritters.net, happycrittersdogtraining.com, or you can join the Facebook group, Creating Great Grooming Dogs podcast, or the Facebook page, Creating Great Grooming Dogs. I really look forward to hearing from you.